Hey guys, I'm back with another video for you today, and I'm talking about a brand called Obvious Parfums. Are you familiar with this house? Are you a fan of their fragrances? I've done a few videos on the fragrances of this house, plus I featured 2 or 3 or 4 of their fragrances in various videos. And I found a great promotion on 5 of their fragrances that I'm going to highlight for you guys today in case you're on the market for some great deals on fragrances. I recommend 3 of them highly, as I've spoken quite a bit about them, and I'm also going to recommend the 2 others that I found online for really great prices. These currently sell for 100 ml 140 suggested retail price, but I found them for 100 ml $45, and they're totally worth having in your collection. In fact, I've spoken quite a bit about Un Bois and Un Musc. Both of them are super sexy and really great fragrances to wear on their own or to layer together. I really enjoy layering Un Bois and Un Musc together. And if you have some musky fragrances, you can boost up the musk with the Un Musc. Or if you have some woody fragrances that like to go into the musky direction, you can boost it up with Un Bois. But on their own, they're super sexy and minimalistic, so I really enjoy those for that. But also Un Fig. I recently featured this in a marine fragrances video, and it's a marine take on figs. But these are, as I said, normally 100 ml for $140. Now they're selling for 100 ml $45, and I don't think these deals will last. But let me tell you about my favorite of the bunch, which is Un Bois. Un Bois, I've done a standalone video on the channel, and it's a kind of like an eccentric molecules, molecule 1 type of a fragrance, but a bit more boosted up. They've got some molecular woody notes in here, so it's super woody, and also they have thrown in some spices and some light citrusy touches as well. What I like about it, it's got this great sexy muskiness, but super woody with it's got Ambroxan, but it's also got a lot of cedar. There's Vetiver in here as well. So you not only get the woods, you get these kind of musky, ambery touches as well. But you will also notice some spicy, peppery touches. But I really love the way it wears on skin. If you're looking for fragrances that are not too overpowering, but with great musky, lingering power, but also that goes into the woody direction, this one is definitely one that you should check out. I really enjoy the way it smells. In fact, go catch my full review of this one, and you'll hear what I like and enjoy about it. It comes off minimalistic. It's not super beast mode, but again, it's got great lingering power, and you will receive compliments with this one, because if you've ever experienced fragrances like Molecule 1, Molecule 2, Another 13, and things like that, I think this is definitely the type of fragrance that you should check out if you haven't already. So this is the first fragrance, Un Bois, that I'm talking about. It's a really awesome fragrance. Let me spray again. I sprayed it early on, but you definitely have a pretty prominent peppery spiciness, but there's also freshness. There's like a citrusy touch in here, but then you have all the woods and earthy notes together. You've got the Ambroxan to be the base notes, kind of going into the musky direction, but it's got lots of vetiver and cedar as well. Super awesome. Really great fragrance. That's definitely one of my favorites from Obvious. You can wear that on its own or boost up another fragrance and make it a bit more woody, musky. And that could be used like a base note and then spritz on something maybe citrusy on top. But as I was saying, I do enjoy layering it with Un Musc. But you can also layer it with the Un Rose. The rose is going to be boosted up with a lot of, woody, musky touches and spicy, because remember the Un Bois also has the pepper, and pepper really goes great with, rose notes. But next, let's talk about Un Musc. Really super sexy. If you like fragrances like, what's the name? What We Do Is Secret, and they have a musk fragrance, I believe it's G, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a fragrance like that, or I think this is also maybe a minimalistic take on something like Kiehl's original musk, but it's going into more of a molecular direction. If you're fans of eccentric molecules type fragrances, you're going to want to check this one out as well, because this one smells like a true authentic musk, but with kind of a clean white musky characteristic, but behind it a bit of lightly animalistic characteristic. So you've got lots of woods, lots of musky notes. There's some earthy notes under there. There's some zing and spice as well. I think they have some ginger or some kind of zingy note. It comes off kind of zingy spicy. And there's a little bit of a greenness under there as well. But what I like about it here, they have a really nice cocktail of musks. That's the word I was looking for. So they've got Globalide, Helvetolide, Ambrettolide, Muscenone, along with like woody notes, green notes, and citruses and ginger as well. Really super awesome. Once again, it's close to the skin, so it's not going to, be super projecting or beast mode or anything like that. But I feel like it has pretty great lingering power. So it's not gonna, fizzle away really fast. It's also perfect to wear when it's warmer outside. These are kind of minimalistic fragrances. So I like that for these fragrances. The other thing you could do is layer the unmusk with the unfig, because the unmusk also has galbanum, which is green, and the fig is also green leaning and also marine leaning. So I think the two together will also work great as well. Let me know if you've already sampled the fragrances of Obvious Parfums. Add a comment below. All right, we're going to talk about two fragrances that I don't have as great of an experience as I do with the first two I spoke about and the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. But I'm going to talk to you about Un Oud because it's also on promotion currently on the website, which I have linked within YouTube. So Un Oud is an oud fragrance, but I feel like it's a oud accord, or a fragrance focused on papyrus, which kind of sometimes has kind of oudy touches. So it's quite earthy and spicy and woody, and also dry grassy for sure. And you've got a lot of that papyrus note, which is pretty prominent here. And you'll also smell similar qualities to cypriol. So this is a really interesting note that to me kind of reminds me of sort of in between vetiver and patchouli, because it's quite an earthy, woody experience. And so you've got these kind of notes in here. But along the way, you're also going to get leather. It becomes leathery and also spicy. There's some spices in here. Not only do they have pink pepper, but there's also cardamom. But eventually, there's also saffron and there's the leather. So it gets leathery as it's drying down. So I wouldn't say this is an authentic Middle Eastern style oud, the type that goes animalic and dirty. This is more of a Western oud. It's an oud accord. It doesn't necessarily smell a lot like oud. It's more about the aromatic earthy notes, the woody notes that are kind of creating an oud accord. In some ways, I think it's a bit simplistic, but if you are challenged with animalic fragrances, I think this should definitely satisfy. So I also like the Un Oud with the Un Rose. And I feel like the papyrus is really, really awesome in contrast with the rose. That's kind of a note that I see come up with a lot of rosy fragrances. So it does complement one another. And remember, I said papyrus is kind of like in between vetiver and patchouli. So patchouli is a really great match for rose. So in this case, the Un Oud and the Un Rose are a really great layering duo. But both of them are highly discounted, as I said, 100 ml for $45. And the Rose, to me, is also really, really awesome. It's a kind of a dry, spicy rose with a little bit of citruses thrown in. So it's not only rose, but there's a lot of pink pepper. There's cardamom here. There's some freshness from citruses. And of course, you've got some geranium. And the geranium is an herbal aromatic note that kind of has a slight rosiness, but it's more herbal and a bit minty as well. So it has these rosy nuances, and I feel like when they add it to a rose fragrance, they're kind of boosting up the rosiness with a kind of a minty herbal quality. And this is actually going to be perfect matched with the Un Oud. They totally will complement one another. But this rose is a dry rose. It's not syrupy, jammy. So if you don't like dry rose, this might not be it for you. But if you like it dry, I think this is definitely a great rose for you to try. And I think the rose also would layer perfectly with the musk, for sure. They would complement one another. And of course, the Un Bois as well. Definitely, it'll boost up, add more woods to the rose if you're doing the Un Bois, or it would add some muskiness to the rose if you're doing the Un Musk. I haven't tried the unfig, but maybe it might work. Maybe it might turn out to be something like Lavalier by YSL, which is a rose fig combo. But the Lavalier doesn't really have the marine notes, which unfig does. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Have you sampled them yourself? Do you like them? Are you a fan of Obvious Parfums? I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned that the brand has been doing a bit more complex fragrances lately, but early on they launched with a bit more simplistic fragrances. These are a bit simplistic, but sometimes people don't want the really heavy fragrances. And I like the fact that they lend themselves perfectly to layering because they're not so overly complex. And that's why I think if you have a fragrance collection and you want to have something musky, definitely a really great musky fragrance. If you want something like Eccentric Molecules, Molecule 1, the Un Bois is so awesome. In fact, for me, it's a bit more like Molecule 1 and Another 13 combined together. So I feel like once you put this on, it becomes really musky and sexy. It's a really great sexy smell, the way it smells. And I think it's perfect. But the whole entire collection, I think, is definitely worth trying. And I wanted to highlight it for you guys because, as I said, it is currently highly discounted, and if you guys are in the market, definitely don't miss out. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. I did not mention why I'm wearing the hat today. I actually have a little injury on my head, unfortunately, so I put the hat back on, but you guys have been asking me to wear the hat, so maybe I'll start doing some more videos with the hat on a little bit. What do you guys think? Either way, let me know. Add a comment below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.